Parshat Mishpatim is filled with laws connected to interpersonal connections. And it discusses what happens if somebody steals from somebody else. If somebody steals an object, they must return it. Now, there's a punishment for stealing from somebody else, obviously. The punishment is a double payment. You don't only pay back the amount of what the object costs, but rather you pay double that amount as a fine for stealing from somebody else. Now, if somebody stole a sheep or an ox from somebody else and they slaughtered it or they sold it, that's even more stringent. They have to not only pay double the amount, which is a lot of money, they have to pay 4 times or 5 times the amount. 4 times the amount of the object if it's a sheep, 5 times if it's an ox. And the question is, what's the difference? You can understand this in different ways. It can be understood in terms of the thief. The thief, Rabbi Akiva says, when they go and sell it or they go and slaughter the animal, it shows that they're very entrenched in sin. They went out of their way not just to steal it, but they went and they took it to the market and they sold it, or they took it to the slaughterhouse. They put it on their shoulder, brought it to the shochet, and they slaughtered the animal. There's a lot of actions there that show that this person's very entrenched in sin. Therefore, for the sake of the person who stole the object, we say you don't only pay double, you pay 4 times or 5 times, because that's going to help you expiate your sin or fix what you've done wrong, or teach you a message not to do that wrong act, not to be so entrenched in sin. However, you can also understand this in terms of the victim. And the message is a good message for us in our everyday lives. The victim suffered more when the object, like the sheep or the ox, was slaughtered or sold, more than it just being stolen. If it was being stolen, that's obviously upsetting. But once the object is no longer to be found, it's slaughtered, it was completely killed, or it was sold, that is another level of disconnection from the object for the owner, and that creates more sadness and more dismay on their front. And therefore, when we're compensating that individual who lost that object, we say, we're not only going to have you get paid back double, we'll have you paid back 4 times or 5 times. 4 times for a sheep, 5 times for an ox, because the ox, it might be even more valuable to the owner because it can do a lot of work in the field for them. So the idea here is not just in terms of the thief, but rather as a compensation to the victim, the person who suffered at the hands of the thief. And the message is a good message for us. When someone's lacking or they suffered a loss, we have to figure out what exactly did they lose so that we can compensate them or be there for them in that place. Maybe they lost something that was very valuable to them. It was so we have to be there and speak to them in that place. Maybe they lost something that they inherited through their family. That would be even more difficult for them. So we have to figure out what they're feeling. I had a case like this a few years ago. A friend of mine who grew up in our area here came to visit my shul. He lives in Israel. And on his visit, he lost his coat. And he said to me, he kept WhatsApping me after Shabbat saying, I lost my coat. Did you guys find it in your shul? And I was like, why does he keep reaching out so much about this coat? Like, it's a coat. We lost it. I don't know if we're going to be able to find it. And I kind of dismissed it. But he seemed very upset about it. He had a strong connection to the coat. And I said, I'm sorry that you lost it. He goes, I didn't lose it. Somebody stole it. And when he said that, I realized he's really in a lot of pain over the fact he lost. He thinks somebody stole it from him. I can't guarantee. I don't know what happened if he got lost or if it was stolen. But he was very sad over it. And I realized I had to change my language. I had to be more sensitive. Perhaps it had some sort of sentimental value to him. Perhaps he spent a lot of money on it, money they didn't have. I don't know. So I had to be much more sensitive and caring in my language. And I was. I hope I was able to make him feel a little bit better, even though we never ended up finding the coat. And the message is that sometimes someone suffers level 2 pain around losing something. That's a double payment. Sometimes they suffer 3, 4, 5 level pain around losing something. It could be a loved one, it could be an item, it could be an object. We have to hear what they're really saying, what they're really feeling, and compensate or fill in that place to make them feel better. That's the message that emerges from our Parsha. It's not just about the thief, it's about the victim as well. It's about us in our lives. The more we're able to be there for other people, the more we're able to really listen to what they're feeling, the better we will be able to be there for them and take care of them in their place of need. Shabbat Shalom.